Hello guys and welcome to the next video in our Eidolon 2021 guide series. Today we're going to be looking at Volt VS, so that's Void Strike. I'm just going to run you through the build quickly, similar to the last guide, and then we'll jump into the planes and just do one run through, just showing you how it's done, so to speak. I'm not the best at Volt VS. Like I said in the previous video, it's been a while since I've hunted, and I have only managed to do, I believe, two actually. I've done two nights where I've played Volt VS, and it's not the easiest role to get the hang of. And you'll see that in the video, I've actually made a few tweaks to the build you're going to see here compared to the one that I'm using in the video, but they're only minor tweaks, so it should be very similar. So I'll just run you through what I've got here, and then we'll hop in. So if you have a look at Volt, I've got corrosive protection on. Again, up to you. If your DPS is running with the Sarper, this isn't really necessary, but I'm running with it just to assist. I've got Handspring as my Exilus. Again, if you've got enough room for Prime Sure-Footed, that's a much better option here. Would recommend. You could even go with something different here, as we're not going to be in our frame too much, but I would recommend having some kind of utility in that spot. Going through the mods here, it's duration and efficiency built. We're going to try and keep our strength neutral here. Simply because the main buff that we're going to be using in this is going to be from our shield here, which the only thing that's affected by strength in this build, on this ability, sorry, is the extra damage given by the shield there. You can see it's 50% additional electricity damage. That's not really going to be what we're using it for. We're using it for the additional crit damage, which doesn't actually come up on the description of the ability. But yeah, shooting anything through Volt's shield will give you increased crit damage, which is why we're using it, because we can shoot our amps through it and it will deal additional damage. So going through the build, we've got Constitution for duration, Rolling Guard and Adaptation. We've got, again, I had these in my last video as well, just for general defense purposes. Again, if you're in a 3-man squad, Rolling Guard's going to be really good, and Adaptation is just going to keep us alive anyway. And then we've got Narrow-Minded for increased ability duration. We don't need any range, so that's fine. We can sack the range completely. I've then got Natural Talent. This is the thing that I've changed on this build from what you'll see in the run. In the run, you'll see that I'm not using Natural Talent. My shield casting is a bit slow. I have sacrificed a bit of duration for Natural Talent. If you feel that you don't need Natural Talent, you could put something like Augur Message on for the increased duration. If I just find it here. So you could put this on instead. That way your shields would last a bit longer. But I believe that the duration on this is long enough to see through at least 2 limbs of the Eidolon per shield, which is absolutely fine. And it should be easily long enough to use for pre-shields, which we'll go into in the run. Prime Continuity, again, more duration. And then Fleeting Expertise, I've gone for the increased efficiency, as I'm going to be using quite a lot of shields during this, and I don't really want to be using too many pads. And then again, Vitality at the end here. We don't need Umbral Vitality, simply because it gives us exactly the same amount of health as Vitality, since we're not going to be using any of the other Umbral mods to go with it. So there's no sense in using this, as it's costs us 4 more capacity. So yeah, just normal Vitality on here. And then the Arcanes that I'm running here, Energize and Nullifier. Obviously, I'm trying to conserve energy pads, so Energize is for that. And then Nullifier is going to be just to prevent us taking any mag procs when we go into the river by accident. Or if we're in a 3-man squad, it's just going to help us to withstand any energy spikes when we're charging our VS in between limbs. So that's why we've gone for those two. Adaptation is more than capable of tanking us through any damage, so we don't really need anything tanky on here. So that should be absolutely fine. I have also replaced my 4th. Again, you saw on the DPS build that we'd replaced our 4th ability with something else. Well, on this one, we've replaced it with Dispensary, which is a ability that Protea has. And that's going to drop us some energy orbs. Once again, conserving the amount of pads we're going to have to use. What you will notice is that during this run that I'm about to show you, I do actually end up using quite a lot of pads, but that's simply because I'm only getting used to it just now, so I haven't got to the point where I am conserving pads. I just want to be able to sort of get through a 6x3 using this build. So once you get to grips with things, you shouldn't be using too many pads. But yeah, just a heads up. Everything else is fairly standard here. Your primary doesn't really matter as long as it can do a bit of damage in case your your DPS is falling a bit behind, or they are quite far away and they need a limb popped, it's always nice to have a bit of damage on here, so I'm just running Vectus. I quite like it. Simple as that. Doesn't really matter, we're not going to be using it. Secondary and melee, again, not going to be using them, so we might as well take them off. Especially melee, I would highly recommend taking your melee off for this, since when you jump out of Arcwing, if you accidentally melee strike something as you get out, you are going to use up one of your Void Strike stacks, and that's really annoying. Whereas if you have no melee, you're not going to run that risk. So, no need to run it. And then, again, for a Void Strike roll, we're going to be running Madurai for Void Strike down here, increasing our amp damage. And that's pretty much it, really. That's the only reason we're using this. In terms of amps, if we just go and look at our operator very quickly. I haven't actually had the chance to upgrade some of the arcanes on my operator. But if we just have a quick look, Virtuous Shadow hasn't changed. So we should be running Virtuous Shadow on our build since we're a Void Strike roll. On headshot, 40% chance for 60% crit chance for 12 seconds. Really useful. This doesn't increase the damage that your amp does, obviously, because it's increasing the crit chance. So you won't deal any more damage, as it were, for dealing a crit. But what it does do is it creates more consistency in hitting criticals, which is really important for guaranteeing shields drop instantly. So really do make sure you're running this. Is important. And then the amp that we've got on is a 177 amp. So it's running Replac, Certus Brace, and Prober Scaffold. The reason that we're running Replac, as I have come to find out, is because if your Proper Shot, for whatever reason, doesn't manage to take down the shield, it is much quicker to then fire off the Replac to take out the remainder of the shield, whatever's left, rather than firing another Proper Shot, which will then take a few seconds to detonate. You're going to save a lot of time being able to use the Replac. But yeah, that's that. Let's head back to the build here. Once again, make sure that you're not running Vacuum on your carrier. Very important. Everything else you can just choose yourself. Arcwing wise, I'm using Itzal again. And as mentioned in the previous video, it doesn't really matter what you run on this, as long as you're happy with it, since we're not going to be using any energy for Blink. But yeah, that's the build, guys. So what we're going to do now, we'll hop into the plains, and we'll take you through one run. And yeah, I'll see you guys over there. Okay, guys, so we're just entering the plains here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to dash forward over these hills, as per usual in a VS run, and we're going to try and proc some Von Volus spawns for our DPS. There we go, we've marked them for him. In a 3-man squad, the DPS player is only going to be able to get 2 Von Volus at his quick charge spot, so it's important that we get those spawned in for him, so that he can get a charge. And now we're at the Eidolon, we're just going to put down some shields ready to shoot when he comes out of the water. We're going to proc our Virtuous Shadow, and then we're going to go under, and we're going to pick up some Wisps, and fire off 3 shots to take down the first shield. Like so. And then what we're going to do, we're going to put down our 4th ability, which we've got from Protea there, just to get some energy orbs, put down some shields, and we're going to start proccing our Shadow again. The way I'm proccing Shadow this time around, I'm trying to get stuck underneath his head, and I'm just going to be void dashing upwards into his head to proc Void Shadow. Now the way you're going to be spending your Void Strike stacks here, it's important to note that you're going to have too many stacks for how many limbs we've got on the terror list. So obviously you start with 8 Void Strike shots, and you only have to take out essentially 5 shields, so which is the first shield and then the shields on the following 4 limbs. Actually, it's only 4 shields because after the 4th limb, you obviously don't have to take out a shield. So we need to use our Void Strike stacks carefully and make sure that we are using them efficiently and we don't have to reset anything at the end. So as you saw there, on each limb, I was using 2 shots until the last limb, where I only used 1. Which allowed me to get a really nice overstack. You can see there in the top right that my Void Strike for the next 8 has started at 3.04 times rather than usual 1 times. If you want to know how overstacking works, I do have a video on that. I'm not going to go into it in depth in this video as there's quite a lot to cover. I'm already talking quite quickly, so I want you guys to be able to understand exactly what's going on. But yeah, I do have video on that if you would like to see it, so please do go and check that out. But yeah, what we're going to do, we're just going to continue charging Void Strike here. We're going to put down some shields for our Volt to shoot through onto the head. And then we're going to hit our number 2 ability, give us some speed, and then we're going to Arcwing over to our pre-shield spots. So the pre-shield spots have changed slightly. We're going to start on the closer spawns now, and we're going to put them facing into the hill. Same for the close left spot here. We're going to put them facing into the hill, and in the middle spot, we're going to do kind of a crisscross and leave our frame in the middle. The reason we're doing this is that we're trying to create a surface that we can make our proper shot explode on early. So obviously we don't want to have to wait for our proper to detonate. And you'll probably be wondering as well why we haven't put them on long spawn. That is simply because we have plenty of time before the Eidolon actually emerges from long spawn. So we can stop, as you can see, put down a shield and shoot 3 shots through it before the Eidolon's limb is even visible. And then our DPS can just shoot him when he comes out, and we don't have to waste any time pre-shielding that spot. So as before, on the terror list, we're now going to be walking around. We put down our dispensary there, number 4 ability. Literally the same as before, going to be trying to proc Void Shadow. You will not get Void Shadow every single time, or sorry, Virtuous Shadow every single time. So do make sure that you are there and ready to shoot the shield down. It is not the most important thing in the world if you don't proc Shadow. The more important thing is that you are helping your teammates take down the shield. So don't worry too much if you don't get it. The timing on the proper shots is something that you will figure out over time. Obviously, you can try and get an idea about it from this video. And yeah, it's essentially, you'll see when he starts lifting his leg up here, so left leg, when it gets to the top of that lift, you should be shooting. It's around that timing. Obviously, it changes depending on ping, so do be aware of that. But yeah, we're just going to keep going here in this kind of rotation that we've got going. You'll notice on the previous shield that I did actually put down an extra Volt shield, and you'll see why in a second. It's because my timer would have run out. As you can see here, that shield is still standing now that I put one there on the last limb. And I do make a bit of a mistake here. I thought I got trapped under the head there, but apparently I did not. So I've flown miles up into the air. But yeah, just be careful. Obviously.
What I enjoy way more is that they took the momentum
But yeah. So it's just a bit of a round robin at this point, guys. So just make sure that you're continually doing everything that we have been doing. Procking the Void Virtuous Shadow, making sure we're in position, putting shields down, all that good stuff. Again, I'd highly recommend looking at previous guide videos as well. The Virtuous Shadow element and procking that, it hasn't changed too much at all. So do go back and look at previous videos. I'm not going to try and cram everything into one video.
Well, yes, but
it's slower. Just
but yeah, once again, we're going to put down shields for our Volt. We're then going to dash over to close right spawn, and just going to repeat the process. So shields facing in,
you get like infinite movement speed.
shields facing in.
Oh, I don't have that.
Make sure we don't get muddled.
I did. What the fuck? I'm actually paranoid.
I go host migrated.
So after the DPS has put his shard in, we should be holding down X to make sure that we get as little time in between him putting in his shard and our shards. It also increases the chance of putting double shards into the shrine. Unfortunately, again, here we got another long spawn, so again, though, it gives us plenty of time to shoot down the shield.
Not done?
Once again, placing shields, and it's a very round robin from here. So yeah, I think you guys have probably got the idea by now.
Was it me?
In terms of tips and tricks for sort of VS rolling, it's important that you're not kind of cluttered up too much when you're firing your proper shots. Obviously, if you're in a 4-man squad, then oftentimes, especially on Hydralist, there's going to be 3 people trying to shoot through the same shield. So make sure you guys know where you're standing. As you can see here, I'm standing on the left-hand side of the shield, and my teammate is standing on the right-hand side of the shield. This is just to prevent any kind of proper shots going off early, and yeah, you're then losing damage if that happens. So do make sure you guys know where you're standing and you're not interfering with your teammate's shot. And we can just keep going backwards and forwards now, fairly straightforward. We do not have to put down a shield again there, as you saw when we did on the Gantalist, to try and get over, to make sure we get our overstacking on our VS. It's not important for Hydralist, as there's no Eidolon that comes after it, so we don't need to worry about overstacking at all. So as you can see here, we can just put down another set of shields when we need to. Keep rocking Void Shadow. make sure that you don't do what I just did and accidentally hit a wrong key and fly miles away.
I think it's our best run so far with a double long spawn.
I clicked A instead of
And happy days. So we're just going to go around and pick everything up here, and then we're going to fly back towards gate. But yeah, that's pretty much it for what's going on, guys. Obviously, I know I've been speaking pretty quickly during this, trying to get all the information out. Once again, I will reiterate, I would highly recommend going back and watching previous guide videos about Virtuous Shadow, pre-shielding on Vault, everything like that. Do go back and have a look at those. Obviously, this is just to give you an idea of what a run looks like, so do take a look at the other videos. But yeah, we're just going to put the shields up again for our Vault here, and then that will be the end of the run. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or any comments that you'd like to add, then please do let me know. Always happy to take a look at those. Like and subscribe if you would like to. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Ready whenever double.
Extracting with 50